We need to be looking for truth, and when we found the truth, accepting it. Even if it goes against us, our beliefs, our culture, our norms, our ideology, we should accept it.
So if the God claim was not true, Allah's existence was not true.
If the claim was not true, then you should take that.
So in principle, you'd be willing to change your position?
No. If any claim, if it's false, you should reject it. Simple as that. You should reject it.
So in principle, you would reject Allah's existence if it was in fact not true?
If it was not true, you would reject it. How are you, Sheikh? Yeah? You will have to reject it, because that will show that how sincere you are, and you are seeker for the truth.
Yeah.
But the problem is the overwhelming evidence already dispels this kind of claims that God doesn't exist, or Allah is not God, or Islam is not true. The evidence is so overwhelming that your mind simply cannot just dismiss it just like that, because you think, oh, Islam is a religion from the Middle East, so I'm not going to accept it because I'm white and I'm European. That will be a very bad reason for rejecting this truth.
Is that what you think I think?
No, of course not. I'm just giving you an example. If somebody did that and said, look, the Quran is in Arabic and I speak English, I don't know even a single letter of Arabic, so I cannot accept that to be true. Truth is not dependent on it being in English or in Arabic. Yeah, in this example. So the Prophet Muhammad can be a true prophet, even if he's from Arabia, even if he spoke Arabic.
Truth is universal.
Truth is not, related to a certain skin color, a certain skin language, anything. Yeah, it's independent of all of that.
Sure.
Yeah. So when you examine the Quran, you will find that the Quran actually engages with you to bring back this truth so that you can accept it. To give you an example, the Quran says, أَوَلَمْ يَرَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ كَانَتَا رَتْقًا فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ أَفَلَا يُؤْمِنُونَ.
Translate this.
Do the unbelievers not see that the heavens and the earth as one piece, and God parted it asunder, and He brought every living thing from water? Would they then not believe? My point of emphasis is on the last part of this ayat of the Quran. Would they then not believe? What is the Quran is doing? Simply, it's not saying you must now believe. It's asking you a question by starting with a situation. Do the unbelievers not see? Okay, so it's dealing with a question about disbelief by a group of people or a person who doesn't believe in something. And then it tells you, do they not then see? And then it gives you something like an evidence of some kind. And then at the end it says, would you then not believe? So this kind of process is one, addressing a position of disbelief in something, provide something to support that this position of disbelief is not really valid, and asks you, would you then not believe in it? So the last statement is very interesting. Why does it say, would you then not believe? Because it's asking you, bring yourself, be honest, be sincere, be truthful, be just. If you have seen this true evidence that's provided, or an argument that is sound, why shouldn't you believe? Yeah, it wasn't addressing the Muslims. It was addressing the people who don't believe, who are disbelievers. أَوَلَمْ يَرَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Those who have rejected, those who have denied, those who have not accepted, right? And then it says the universe, the heavens and the earth. The heavens is whatever beyond the earth is the heavens. Not as in paradise, the skies, the nebula, the galaxies, the constellations, these are all heavens. The Quran says it was all as one piece at one point. And then there was a separation. Okay, rataq and fataq. So that one piece of information. And the second piece of information, as if one wasn't enough, is that every living thing was made from water, brought from water. Now we know from our understanding of current technological advancement in science, that yes, our Earth and beyond the Earth, the extraterrestrial entities at one point joined together in one entity, and then it was separated. So yes, that's point one. Second point, yes, the living things, the life that we know of, it actually needs water for it to be living, for it to be consistent to call itself alive, to propagate its life and so on. It's a living
This is all
life.
from an ancient 1400-year-old
Now,
book.
so this is from a Quran, which is 1440 something years, right? Previously. It's amazing that this knowledge is something that we now accept to be true. But 1400 years ago, how the knowledge was, is a different question altogether, whether people knew about
Quran
it.
is a book of science.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not even proving anything about science or Quran being a scientific miracle. I'm focusing on the last part of this collection of ayahs. Would they then not believe? So the Quran is engaged. Remember what I said? The Quran engages with you so that your thinking critical self comes out and say yes. If this is the case, what's stopping me from believing? This is just one of the examples the Quran provides. The Quran says about the existence itself. أَمْ خُلِقُوا مِنْ غَيْرِ شَيْءٍ أَمْ هُمُ الْخَالِقُونَ.
You have to sing it.
أَمْ خَلَقُوا السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ بَلْ لَا يُوقِنُونَ. The Quran is a recital. Yeah, it's a recital. We recite it, and this will be like it was transmitted like this until the world comes to an end. This is how we preserve the Quran. We don't just say the Quran says this in Chinese and English. What will that be? Will be a translation and interpretation. Quran, this is another level for you to reflect. The Quran that we are presenting to you, which we claim to be the guidance from God, is exactly as it was delivered, without any alterations. And we deliver it to you as it was recited, in the way it was recited. So you have one more level of confidence that yes, the book that I'm now trying to understand, whether it's from guidance from God or not, is at least I'm rest assured it's been transmitted with this preservation in mind. That's the reason we want to make sure that yes, I'm giving you the Quran, the real deal. So when the Quran says, were they created from absolute nothingness? What do you think? We explained before, no. We didn't come from absolute nothingness. أَمْ خُلِقُوا مِنْ غَيْرِ شَيْءٍ. Were they created from absolute nothing? The answer is no. أَمْ هُمُ الْخَالِقُونَ. Did they create themselves? No. أَمْ خَلَقُوا السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Did they create the heavens and the earth? No. And the Quran then rhetorically asks, or even makes a statement, بَلْ لَا يُقِنُونَ. They have no certainty. They are not certain. They have no certainty of faith.
Mansur, that the questions that he has in his mind are found in the Quran.
That's what I'm introducing.
That's what I mean.
I'm introducing.
I've read the Quran in English.
Yeah. So what I'm introducing to you these two examples. Quran engages with you. It engages with you. It does. It is not a book.
Engage with me. I find it very dull.
So when the Quran asks you as a disbeliever in God about the heavens and the earth, and then asks you, would you then not believe?
Disbelieve.
No. Those who reject, right, belief. Consider that way.
I'm not convinced it's true. No.
Yeah. So, not being convinced and true, then he asks you, would you then not believe? So you have to deal with this question. That's how the Quran is engaging with you. So the Quran does engage, but you need to really ask yourself, it looks like it's engaging with me, let me deal with it. It says the Prophet is a messenger of God, and if it wasn't the case, people would have already pointed this out, that he was not a prophet of God. His people would have said, okay, we know where you learned this from. But they couldn't, because they know no one taught the Prophet. So where does the Prophet know all of these things? I mean, how does this Prophet know? Because he is delivering this Quran, and he says he's made, God has made, the originator, the creator has made the mountains like pegs.
I've heard this before.
You've heard this before, right?
There's no errors in the Quran, is that what you're saying?
I'm just simply telling you the way the Quran engages with you is to really use your rational faculty, ask questions, and then you surrender to it. Say, I accept it's from God or not.
So
I am not.
just follow-
I am
follow
not.
that.
The examples I've
Mountains like pegs, you said.
the examples I've given you It's not I'm saying, okay, there's a scientific miracle in there. This is not my point. I'm saying how the Quran engages with you. Do they not see that God has created like this and that He's created mountain like pegs? And that's what the mountains are. Most of it is underground. So it's a description which is understood by a lay person with no knowledge of geology, and it is understood equally by a professor of geology. So the Quran is now giving you another level of its deliverance. The way it delivers is that it is independent of your level of knowledge.
Did it talk about
It
plates?
talks to you. It talks to you whether you're a scientist or whether you're a person on the street. It's on another level. The Quran engages with people in such a way that it doesn't have to differentiate between you're a professor or a non-professor. It can equally speak to all of you at once.
So mountains are pegs, most of it's underground.
Isn't that the case?
Does not elaborate on plate tectonics, the Quran?
The Quran is not teaching you about geology. The Quran is simply alluding to a fact to think.
With the mountain, most of it's above ground. It's not below ground. It's plate tectonics, isn't it?
A mountain is not mostly above ground. If you look at the mountain range, whether it's these Himalayas or the Alps and so on, mostly down. We are like a tip of the iceberg. If you remember what an iceberg is, the iceberg tip is just a little bit, and the rest is all underground in the water.
I didn't think that. Maybe I need to brush up on my.
You can have a look at. You can look at.
check it out.
You can check it out.
I thought most of the mountains above ground.
No, it's not. It's not that. It's not that case.
Before asking,
Also, like you
is there
just said, an
errors in the
iceberg on
Quran?
water.
Do you believe that this world as a creator?
No.
You should start from this.
I don't believe that the universe is a creator.
Yes. So
I don't believe the cosmos
So
is.
do you believe that you are? I mean, your life is real. I mean, you are here with us.
I believe I'm here standing in a park talking to men about religion. That's what I believe.
So
What are you asking me?
if you as Brother Mansur explain about the origin of the creation, if you are here, you should ask yourself
Why am I here?
not why but how you are here. I mean humankind, for example.
I don't think an
What is
ancient.
the origin of humankind? Just
The origin of what? Sorry,
humankind.
humankind. Well, I don't think the Quran gave me the answers. I read the Quran in English. It didn't give me the answers I wanted. It certainly didn't.
You have already an answer that you are.
No, I don't think the universe is an endless mystery, as I keep saying to this other chap. Existence is a mystery. We'll never understand it. I think science does a better job of explaining reality than religion ever did. I
Even
think the
scientists,
Quran is-
they are not really sure about the origin of the humankind. So I don't really see why.
Okay, I just want to bring one example. The Quran makes a particular statement in a very much of an emphasis using a style called oath. You know when you say you swear by something, right? The Quran uses a style with this to make this emphasis very great. It says, makes oath about mawaqi' al-nujum. Now, when you look at the stars at night, yeah, what's your impression when you look at a star? What are your impressions? What are
I'm in awe. I think it's very impressive.
no. When you look at a particular star,
Just to answer your question, I said I'm very. It's fascinating.
no. When you look at a particular star, what do you think? That star is. Tell me about what are the things that you think that are true about this star.
It's another sun, millions of miles away, potentially light years away.
Yep.
It's within our galaxy.
Yep.
Is this still there, for example?
Brother, please, right?
Why can you not interject?
It's not interjecting. I have a particular line of thought. I want you to really, steer your mind to come to an answer because it's important. So sometimes it's not very helpful when you derail the thought or provide an answer which will not be beneficial in this one. So I apologize, but it's very, very important, brother, to understand. If you don't know the way I'm talking, then you will not be helping me. Rather, you'll be, yeah, right. So about the stars, yes, distance.
Base.
Yeah. No, same thing. I mean, if you...
Yeah, it's another sun, millions of light years away.
Yeah.
That is may potentially has its own planetary system.
Yeah.
It's another star like our sun. Might be much larger, might be much smaller. It's one of 400 billion in our galaxy alone. Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. It's very pretty to look at.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else about the truth of that star? Any other truths that it comes to your mind? You mentioned a few things. Any other?
Well, I wonder
truth?
about it, how old it is, how far through its lifespan it is, how large it is, if it has its own planetary system. That's about it, really.
Okay.
It's very pretty to look
So
at.
what this brother, listen. What this brother already questioned this. This is precisely what I was going to say at the end. But because being knowledgeable enough, he tried to bypass all of that. But sometimes it's not right. He was going to ask you. Now I'm going to ask you. Did it ever occur to your mind? The Sheikh may explain even better. Is it still there in the position that you saw?
Oh, okay, so yeah.
مواقع النجوم.
Because it's so far away, it might be looking back into the past because it's taken.
No.
It could be if you like. If it's our closest star is like 4.5 light years.
No, when you
look at that star, you're looking at how it was 4.5 light years ago.
Yes, that means when you see the star isn't there.
See the position, right?
You are only
Or it's
seeing
not how it looks.
No, you're only seeing
looking
the
into the past.
position of the star long time ago.
Yeah.
Right. This is what the Quran emphasizes with the note. With the mawaqi' an-nujum, with the position of the stars. Think about it. This book is coming from someone who is telling you to think about the position of the star. If you did not have really thought about this, in fact, that's why I kept on asking you, what other truths do you think about the star? The fact is, the star isn't there. It's just the position of the star that you see.
And the following verse, the interesting thing, the following verse, Allah says, وَإِنَّهُ لَقَسَمٌ لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عَظِيمٌ. And it is a great oath if you are able to know what is it. So he's addressing those Arabs, if you give the space to the camera, yeah? So he's addressing those Arabs at that time, saying to them, it is a great oath. The position of the star, it's a great oath, but you are not yet aware of that. You are not yet aware, have the knowledge and the capability to understand what I meant by that. That's an indirect way. وَإِنَّهُ لَقَسَمٌ لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عَظِيمٌ. Yeah. So if you know that it's a great oath, if you know, yeah. So Allah is saying, addressing that the position of is something great, which you need to ponder.
So what you say, just to cut through all of it, because I'm sorry, I find it, when we talk about religion, I find it very, I don't want to be disrespectful, I find it very dull. It doesn't interest me that much. What you're saying is that this is prophecy. Science has since discovered this.
No.
And it
What I'm saying
is it was espoused in the Quran 1400 years ago.
What I'm just simply, that's why I tried to ascertain from you, what do you know about the stars? Now you know the position of the star is something that the people of science are telling you.
Yeah.
The star isn't there, right? It was, in fact, a great deal of Muslim contribution on astronomy about stars and naming them as well that we came to know about stars in the first place. But we're going back 1400 years ago, looking at the knowledge at the time, to make statements. I mean, I've given you 3 statements so far from the Quran to show you how the Quran engages with you. All of them, you would say they're amazing. How the Quran talks about the position of the stars when, I mean, not many people would know that this is what it is when they look at the stars. So whether it's to do with the mountains or the stars or the interoceanic waves, the Quran is giving you things from the natural world, natural phenomena, for you to reflect deeply on this creation and say, the one who is giving you this information
So there are
is the one
scientific
who knows.
revelations in the Quran.
And that's one
see?
thing. That's one thing. For
Isn't that
example,
what you're saying?
we're saying Quran has mentioned about facts. These facts, at the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the people, they will be not able to comprehend these facts. Yeah? So that's why they just took it as whatever it is, whatever it means at that time. Now, after the science